Hi, this is Ronnie with Plan to Eat, and this is a short clip from our Summer Ready Summit that happened at the end of May 2026. The goal of the summit was to help families prepare for the busy and unpredictable schedule that can happen in the summer. So, our speakers focused on different meal planning strategies, how to avoid picky eating, best practices for grocery shopping to save money, as well as meal prep and other things. So, we're sharing these clips with you to help you have an idea of what the summit was about and learn a little bit of what the audience learned at our Summer Ready Summit. There's a link in the description to learn more about the speaker in this clip, and we hope you enjoy.
Let's jump right in. When it comes to picky eating, a surprising piece for many parents is that the key to a good dinner actually begins with an appropriate snack. And we have to make sure that our routines are very intentional. Why is that? Because if our kids come to a meal full, then anything we try, any strategies we try are completely sabotaged. So step one is called prepare the space. And that means a good dinner starts with the right snacking routines. For example, to let kids get hungry, and this is super important if they're going to actually eat dinner, you must, no matter their age, leave at least 90 minutes between a meal and a snack, and that's before or after dinner. Practically, this means if you have a kid who goes to traditional school and they get off the bus at 4 o'clock and you serve dinner at 5, you're pinched. There's no time for a snack without completely sabotaging dinner. Also, preparing the space means no eating right after dinner. Okay. Don't allowing kids to boomerang back or to have a bedtime snack half an hour after meal. Here's the deal. Feeding kids too soon after a meal teaches them that dinner is optional. And parents, I know that you are using Plan to Eat. You're planning your meals. You're putting blood, sweat, tears, and time and money into those dinners. We do not want our kids to treat dinner like it's optional. That's like the worst. So we have to be cautious with our bedtime snacks. We have to be cautious with our after meal routines. I want you to think about the purpose of a snack. It is to satiate hunger, not to fill your tummy. So all the time, my kids hear this toolbox phrase, one snack between meals, no seconds on snacks, or one serving of snack. So one snack between meals, one serving of snack. Don't get all worked up about what a serving is. That's where we go deeper, right? This is a condensed version. We're not even talking about the quality of snack, just the quantity. Because if we have too much, we're sabotaging dinner. To help you remember this routine, I call it the very boring MS90 one and done. So that's the snack time rule. What does that mean? Between meals and snacks, you must have a minimum of 90 minutes. That's both for digestion to happen and for appetite to return. One and done. One snack between each set of meals, one serving of snack, because you can teach your kids these fun new words. The purpose of a snack is to make you satisfied. Or for maybe older kids or kids who would think vocabulary words are cool, like me, I'm a nerd, that the purpose of a snack is to keep you satiated. Okay. You don't teach the kids MS91 and done. That's for you, but you're going to say, we are going to have some snack time boundaries and some snack time timings. In fact, I call it eating opportunities. We have specific eating opportunities. During that time, you may eat. When it's not an eating opportunity, you may not eat. Make sure you stick to this routine. You may get some pushback, parents, and that's okay. That's totally normal. You have to stick with it. Within 3 to 7 days, the pushback will diminish. I promise. As a parent, again, here are some toolbox terms for snack time boundaries so that you don't have to think so hard when you do get maybe a little bit of that pushback. So if they say, I want a snack, and it's, 5 minutes before dinner or 30 minutes before dinner, you say, I'm so sorry, it's not eating time right now. And you can tell them the next eating opportunity will be. This can settle their brain and settle their nervous system. You can even let them know, you know what, you may have a treat at the next eating time, if it happens to be, right, a treat battle that you're getting into. And finally, pretty classic, the kitchen is closed right now. And for my homeschooling families, that can be a really important one. Homeschooling families often talk to me about the revolving door of the kitchen because everyone's home all day. But if we're eating all the time, that means we're not gathering with an appetite at the right time. This is Vanessa. She's been working with me for years and years. She's from the UK. And the very first strategy she implemented is this one because it is first. It has to be first. She says the MS91 and done rule had brilliant results on its own. Oldest child actually is now saying she was hungry and sticking around to eat more. Okay, results not guaranteed. You may or may not see proof positive with this first strategy, but it is the first strategy because without it, everything else you try at dinner may be sabotaged by lack of appetite, right? Our kids have to have a little bit of hunger in order for the food to taste good. Hunger is the best seasoning. That's old fashioned, but it's also true.